In Revenge of the Sith, we saw Anakin Skywalker make his final choice. He ignites his lightsaber, strikes down the Separatist leaders, and fully embraces the dark side, becoming Darth Vader. His master, Palpatine, applauds his transformation, and the galaxy begins its descent into tyranny. But what if Anakin's fate had been different on Mustafar? What if Yoda, not Obi-Wan, had arrived to confront him? In this version of the story, that's exactly what happens, and nothing turns out the same. Let's begin. As Anakin Skywalker stands on the edge of the platform, lava flowing below him, the feeling of the Force surging around him is almost overwhelming. He can still feel the rush of his duel with Obi-Wan, the two Jedi clashing not only with their lightsabers, but with the very emotions that guided their actions. But this isn't the end, not yet. Anakin's chest burns with the weight of his decision. He has just slaughtered the Separatist leaders, and now he stands alone, his heart divided between the future he's promised Padme and the manipulations of Palpatine. But Obi-Wan's words, his betrayal, sting deep. Anakin's mind whirls with confusion. Was Obi-Wan wrong? Was he the one who betrayed him all along? The heavy footsteps of another Jedi Master suddenly break through his thoughts, and Anakin turns to see a figure descending from a small ship. The ancient green form of Yoda, his presence calming yet commanding, steps slowly onto the platform. His movements, though deliberate, are guided by the Force, his mind clear, yet his heart burdened with the weight of the decision he knows he must make. "Anakin," Yoda says softly, his voice carrying the calm serenity that Anakin once thought was reserved only for the most enlightened. "Did not expect you to be here. Yet, here you are." Anakin's heart races, confusion turning into fury. "Master Yoda," he responds, his hand instinctively moving toward the lightsaber at his side. "I thought you were dead. The Jedi, they betrayed me." Yoda takes another step closer, his eyes never leaving Anakin. "Betrayal you feel, yes, but look deeper. Feel the truth within the Force." Anakin's breath hitches. His anger surges as he remembers Padme's suffering, the visions that tortured him, the belief that the dark side could save her. "I did it for her," Anakin says, voice quivering with the weight of his guilt. "I did it to save her. She's going to die, Master, and I can't lose her." Yoda's ancient eyes soften, the weight of the situation not lost on him. "What you seek is not the way, young Skywalker. Love is powerful, but fear, it feeds the dark side. Fear of losing, fear of failure, it controls you." Anakin steps back, the fire of his lightsaber illuminating his face. "You don't understand," he says, his voice rising with emotion. "You've never been forced to choose between duty and love. You've never had to face what I have." Yoda's voice lowers, steady and calm, as if he's speaking to the very soul of the young man before him. "In darkness we find our greatest lessons. But those lessons are not the way of the Jedi. We must face the light, not avoid it." Anakin clenches his fist, still gripping his lightsaber. He's so close to breaking, so close to falling fully into the dark. Yet Yoda's words reach him, like a beacon of light piercing the storm of his mind. But before he can act, Yoda makes his move. The lightsaber ignites in Anakin's hand, the blue blade burning brightly against the fire of Mustafar's surface. He charges toward Yoda with speed and rage, his mind consumed with everything he's lost. His anger is palpable, the Force crackling around him, but Yoda doesn't flinch. Instead, Yoda's lightsaber hums to life, its green glow cutting through the haze of lava. He stands his ground, but his movements are fluid, like water flowing around rock. Anakin strikes, and Yoda parries, his blade meeting Anakin's with a crackling flash. Yoda does not fight with the same passion as Anakin. He fights with purpose, guided by wisdom and an unshakable connection to the Force. His every movement speaks not of aggression but of harmony. Anakin attacks again, more ferociously this time, his rage blinding him to the true nature of the battle. He swings wildly, expecting to overpower Yoda, but the Master is too skilled, too balanced. Every strike he lands is met with a calculated block or a deft dodge. Yoda's serenity stands in stark contrast to Anakin's desperation. "You fight not to win," Yoda says as he spins around to avoid another strike. "You fight to feed your rage." Anakin grits his teeth, the anger within him growing. But as he moves, something deep within him hesitates. Yoda's words hit their mark, and for just a moment, Anakin is reminded of who he once was. The Jedi Knight who fought for peace, who stood with his brothers, who believed in something greater than himself. Yoda uses the Force to deflect Anakin's attack, sending the young man stumbling back. He feels his feet slip on the metal platform, and before he can regain his balance, Yoda is upon him. The small Jedi Master uses the Force to push Anakin away, sending him crashing into a pillar. The lava below burns with a menacing glow as Anakin struggles to stand. Yoda steps forward, his presence like a weight pressing on Anakin's chest. "You cannot win this fight, Anakin. Your heart is consumed by fear. You must learn to let go." Anakin feels the anger within him boiling over, but a flicker of doubt ignites in his mind. Is Yoda right? Could he let go of his fears? Could he still save Padme? Anakin stands, facing Yoda, his lightsaber trembling in his hand. I don't know how to let go. I don't know how to save her." Yoda's expression softens. "You cannot control death, Anakin. To save her, you must first save yourself." The Master steps closer, placing his hand on Anakin's shoulder. "Fear of loss, fear of what you cannot control, this is the dark side's path. Let it go, you must. Only then will peace come." But Anakin cannot. The vision of Padme dying haunts him. The fear grips his heart like a vice. He wants to save her, even if it means losing himself in the process. I can't," Anakin admits, his voice raw with emotion. Yoda closes his eyes for a moment, his heart heavy with sorrow. The decision to save Anakin has been difficult, but it is not without its cost. Anakin has already fallen, the darkness in his heart growing stronger with every moment. Yoda knows that even if he saves Anakin now, it may not be enough to undo the damage that has already been done. "Then let go," Yoda says quietly. "Let the Force guide you." Before Anakin can respond, a rumble shakes the ground beneath them. The volcanic eruption intensifies, and a surge of lava crashes toward them. Yoda's reflexes are quick, and with a wave of his hand, he uses the Force to create a protective barrier, shielding them from the molten rock. But Yoda doesn't stop there. He reaches out with the Force, his focus now solely on Anakin. With a single motion, he pulls Anakin away from the edge of the platform, saving him from the lava's deadly embrace. For a moment, Anakin is suspended in the air, weightless and free from the fear that has consumed him for so long. He feels the power of the Force in a way he never has before. In that moment, the dark side's grip on him loosens. As Anakin lands softly on the platform, he looks at Yoda, his eyes wide with disbelief. "You saved me." Yoda nods slowly. "Not just you, Anakin. The galaxy. Still hope there is. Redemption still possible." Anakin feels the weight of those words. Can he be redeemed? Can he find his way back from the darkness he has embraced? Yoda leads him to his ship, his heart heavy with the uncertainty of what comes next. But for the first time in a long while, Anakin feels a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, there is a way back. A path to redemption that doesn't involve more destruction, more pain. As the ship ascends from the molten surface of Mustafar, Anakin looks out at the galaxy that stretches before him. There's so much to atone for, so much pain he must face. But in Yoda's presence, he feels the possibility of a new beginning. He doesn't know what the future holds, but for the first time in years, he believes he can change. The journey away from Mustafar is long, filled with the weight of the galaxy pressing down on Anakin Skywalker's shoulders. He sits in silence aboard Yoda's ship, gazing out the viewport at the swirling stars beyond. The chaos of the planet he left behind still lingers in his mind, a reminder of the destruction he caused. But for the first time, there is something else. A small spark of hope flickers within him. Yoda sits across from him, his small form seemingly lost in meditation. He doesn't speak, but Anakin knows the ancient Jedi is aware of his every thought. He feels the weight of Yoda's presence in the Force, calming and steady, a stark contrast to the storm that rages within him. As the ship glides through hyperspace, Anakin turns to face Yoda. "Master Yoda," he begins, his voice uncertain, "how can I ever make up for what I've done? I've killed children, betrayed the Jedi, and embraced the dark side. Can I truly be redeemed?" Yoda opens his eyes, looking at Anakin with a deep compassion that cuts through the fog of guilt clouding his mind. "The path of redemption is not simple, young Skywalker. Not a single action will heal the wounds of the past. But every choice you make from this point on matters. The Force flows through all things, even through you. It is not the darkness you embraced, but how you rise from it that defines you. Anakin nods slowly, absorbing the weight of Yoda's words. He knows the road ahead will not be easy. The pain of his past actions, the faces of the younglings he killed, the pain he inflicted on Obi-Wan and Padme, it will never leave him. But Yoda's teaching sparks something in him, a desire to do better, to be better. The journey back to Coruscant is tense, but it is also a time of reflection for Anakin. For the first time, he begins to truly see the galaxy with clearer eyes. The Empire has cast a dark shadow over everything, but he realizes that it was never about defeating Palpatine or the Sith. It was about something deeper. It was about balance. Yoda has already begun to guide Anakin toward understanding the true nature of the Force. The concept of balance, that the light and dark are not opposites but part of a larger whole, begins to take root in Anakin's heart. He begins to see his own experiences, both the light and the dark, as part of who he is. And with this understanding comes the first hint of peace. Upon their arrival at the hidden location where the remaining Jedi have gathered, Anakin faces the true challenge of his redemption, coming to terms with the Jedi he was and the man he must become. He is greeted with suspicion and fear. The few survivors of the Jedi Temple massacre know the pain he has caused. They feel the darkness that still clings to him, like a shadow on his soul. Some of them even demand his execution. They want justice, they want revenge. But Yoda intervenes, stepping forward to speak for Anakin. Judge not by the past, but by what is to come, he says, his voice steady and wise. Anakin Skywalker has chosen the light. His redemption is not just for him alone, but for the galaxy. We must heal, not with anger, but with wisdom. The other Jedi are hesitant. Some, like Master Ki-Adi-Mundi and Aayla Secura, are too damaged by their experiences to see Anakin's potential for change. They argue that the Jedi cannot afford to trust someone who has betrayed them so completely. But others, like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Padme Amidala, who has since arrived to lend her support, see something different. Anakin stands before the Jedi, his head held high, his lightsaber now at his side, not a weapon of destruction, but a tool for protection. I know what I've done, he says, his voice thick with emotion. I can never undo it. But I can choose to fight for something better now. I can choose to protect, to rebuild. Yoda steps to his side. We must learn from the mistakes of the past. The Jedi Order will be rebuilt, but it will not be the same as it once was. We will guide the galaxy through wisdom, not through force. It is not an easy decision for the remaining Jedi to accept Anakin into their fold, but after much deliberation, they agree. The galaxy needs hope, and Anakin, despite the darkness of his past, can still be that beacon of light. Months pass, and the galaxy slowly begins to heal. Anakin trains alongside Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the other Jedi Masters, learning the true meaning of the Force. He is no longer driven by the need to control or possess, but by the understanding that the Force is a living entity that flows through all things. Anakin's most important lessons are not about combat or lightsaber techniques. They are about forgiveness, humility, and acceptance. He learns to face his darkest moments without fear, to accept that his past does not define his future. Yoda's teachings become a central part of the new Jedi Order, which is being rebuilt in the aftermath of the Empire's fall. The old code, with its rigid rules and detachment, is cast aside. In its place is a new philosophy, one that embraces balance. The Jedi now teach that emotions, while powerful, must be understood and channeled for good. Love is not forbidden. Attachment is not a weakness, but balance must be maintained and the dark side must never be ignored. Anakin trains new Jedi, but he does not do so alone. Obi-Wan, Padme, and even Mace Windu, who had returned to the light after a time of deep reflection, work with him to establish a new vision for the Jedi Order. They teach the next generation of Jedi to be more than just warriors. They teach them to be peacemakers, healers, and guides. Luke and Leia, Anakin's children, are raised not in hiding but in love. They are taught to embrace their Force abilities, not as a burden but as a gift to help others. The twins are a symbol of hope for the galaxy, proof that even in the darkest times, the Force can create new life and new possibilities. As the years pass, Anakin's guilt begins to fade. The faces of the younglings he killed are still etched in his mind, but he no longer sees himself as a monster. He sees himself as a man who fell, but who chose to rise again. But even as Anakin trains, a dark shadow still looms over the galaxy. Palpatine, the Emperor, has not been defeated. His influence still holds the galaxy in a vice grip, and while the Jedi Order has been reborn, the New Republic faces political turmoil. The remnants of the Imperial forces still control vast sections of the galaxy. Anakin and Yoda know that their work is far from over. But this time, they are ready. The old ways of the Jedi of fighting wars and suppressing their emotions will not guide them to victory. Instead, they must confront the Emperor not just with lightsabers, but with wisdom, understanding, and the unity of the galaxy behind them. Anakin and Obi-Wan, together once more, begin to plan their final confrontation with Palpatine. The Emperor has already sensed the growing power of the new Jedi Order. He knows that the galaxy's hope is rising, and he fears it. But his own fear has consumed him, and his arrogance will be his downfall. The day comes when Anakin Skywalker, with Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Padme by his side, leads a small but formidable group of Jedi to confront the Emperor in the heart of the Imperial Palace. They are no longer fighting just for the galaxy's survival. They are fighting for the very soul of the Force. Palpatine awaits them in his throne room, the dark side flowing through him, empowering him in ways that even the Jedi Masters cannot fully comprehend. The fight that ensues is unlike any the galaxy has ever seen. The Emperor's dark side powers clash with the lightsabers of the Jedi, a battle of light and dark that shakes the very foundation of the galaxy. But in the end, it is not through brute force that the Jedi triumph. It is through unity, wisdom, and the strength of the Force that they bring down the Emperor. Anakin, who once fell to the dark side in search of power, now chooses to sacrifice his own desire for control in order to protect the galaxy. With Palpatine's death, the galaxy breathes a collective sigh of relief. The long shadow of the Sith has finally been lifted, and the light of the Jedi shines brighter than ever before. Anakin Skywalker's redemption is not just a personal victory. It is the victory of the galaxy itself. He has shown that even the darkest heart can find its way back to the light. He has taught the galaxy that redemption is always possible for those who seek it, and that the greatest victories are not won through power, but through compassion. The Jedi Order, reborn in a new image, stands as a beacon of hope. The New Republic, guided by the wisdom of the Jedi, begins the slow process of rebuilding the galaxy, establishing a government that values peace, justice, and the well-being of all beings. What if Yoda had saved Anakin on Mustafar? Maybe the galaxy wouldn't have seen a hero rise in the traditional sense. Maybe peace wouldn't have come through armies or alliances. Maybe it would come through pain, through learning, through redemption. Because survival isn't the end. It's the start of something far more challenging. And Anakin Skywalker? He wasn't just a fallen Jedi. He was the man the galaxy needed to forgive, whether it was ready or not. If you enjoyed this alternate timeline, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Star Wars stories. And may the Force be with you.